Hello, and thank you for tuning in once again. You are tuned into Esoteric Guidance, and my name is Nehru. We are going to, I feel like I need to wipe the screens of the camera off. I don't know why. Maybe it's the screen here, I'm not sure. But thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to go ahead and continue with our journey through the 12 Patriarchs at this time, and we are on Jacob's fourth son, whose name is Judah, okay, from the tribe of Judah. The Levitical priesthood is something that is important for many of us chosen ones, and however you want to classify 144,000 or whatever. All right. Also, the number 88 today is standing out. I've seen it twice in just the last 30 seconds since before starting this video, or just prior to starting this video, I saw 88 twice. So 88 is extremely significant. I remember yesterday I came in from my walk and it was 8:08 in the evening. Okay. Yeah, let's check and see what time. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 12:24 p.m.
Okay. So 12:24. So let's go ahead and get started with what we have here. Okay. So the testament of Judah concerning fortitude and love of money and fornication. Again, fornication is a hot subject amongst all of Jacob's sons. No coincidence, as he was a polygamist and highest divine white light still put him in leadership again. Why? I don't know. But the copy of the words of Judah, what things we spoke to his sons before he died, they gathered themselves together and came to him, and he said to them, I was the fourth son born of my father. Confirmation, I guess. And my mother called me Judah. Okay. Saying, I give thanks to the Lord because he has given to me even a fourth son. I was swift and active in my youth and obedient to my father in everything. That sounds familiar. And I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to, that's interesting, and it came to pass when I became a man that my father Jacob prayed over me, saying, you shall be a king and prosper in all things. And the Lord showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and at home. When I saw that I could run with the hind, then I caught it and prepared meat for my father. And it's talking about the hooved animal, okay? Whatever they might have, cow, whatever it was, deer, who knows. I seized up the roes in the chase, and all that was in the plains I outran. A wild mar I outran, and I caught it and tamed it. And I slew a lion and plucked a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw, and I rolled it over a cliff. And if any beast turned upon me, I rent it like a dog. I encountered the wild boar, and overtaking it in the chase, I tore it. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon the dog, and I caught it by the tail and flung it from me. And it was dashed to pieces in the coasts of Gaza. Okay. A wild ox feeding in the field I seized by the horns, and whirling it around and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. And when the two kings of the Canaanites came in warlike array against our flocks, and much people with them. I, by myself, rushed upon King Sur and seized him, and I beat him upon the legs and dragged him down, and so I slew him. And the other king, Tefu, I slew as he sat upon his horse. That might be Tapu as well, right? I sound out the PH like Western English, but that may not be the correct pronunciation. And so I scattered all the people. Achor the king, a man of giant stature, hurling darts before and behind as he sat on horseback, I slew him. For I hurled a stone of 60 pounds weight and cast it upon his horse and killed him. And I fought with Achor for 2 hours, and I killed him. And I clave his shield into 2 parts. Excuse me. I was just eating blueberries. And I chopped off his feet. And as I stripped off his breastplate, behold, 8 men, his companions, began to fight with me. I wound round, therefore, my garment in my hand. And I slang stones at them and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Jacob my father slew Belisa, king of all the kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased from making war with us. Therefore my father had no care in the wars when I was among my brethren. For he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome. Alexa, how tall is 12 cubits?
12 cubits is 18 feet.
Okay, so that's how tall that giant was, 18 feet. Okay. And in the south there befell us a greater war than that in Shechem. And I joined in battle array with my brethren, and pursued 1,000 men, and slew of them 200 men and 4 kings. And I went up against them upon the wall, and 2 other kings I slew, and so we freed Hebron, and took all the captives of the kings. And on the next day we departed to Arita, a city strong and walled and inaccessible, threatening us with death. Therefore I and Gad that's one of his brothers, approached on the east side of the city, and Reuben and Levi on the west and south side, or south. And they that were upon the wall, thinking that we were alone, charged down upon us, and so our confirmation yawn. And so our brethren, that's becoming a common thing, and so our brethren secretly climbed up the wall on both sides by ladders, and entered into the city, while the men knew it not. And we took it with the edge of the sword, and those who had taken refuge in the tower. We set fire to the tower. We set fire to the tower, and took both it and them. And as we were departing, the men of Thafu set upon our captives, and we took it with our sons, and fought with them even to Thafu, and we slew them, and burnt their city, and spoiled all their things that were therein. And when I was at the waters of Chizeba, the men of Jabal came against us to battle, and we fought with them, and their allies from Siloam we slew, and we allowed them no means of escaping and of coming against us. And the men of Machir came upon us on the 5th day to carry away our captives, and we attacked them and overcame them in fierce battle, for they were a host and mighty in themselves. And we slew them before they had gone up the ascent of the hill. And when we came to the city, their women rolled upon us stones from the brow of the hill on which the city stood. And I and Simeon hid ourselves behind the town and seized upon the heights and utterly destroyed the whole city. And the next day it was told us that the cities of the 2 kings with a great host were coming against us. I therefore and Dan, another brother, feigned ourselves to be Amorites, so clothed themselves as if they were an Amorite, and went as allies into their city, and in the depth of night our brethren came. And we opened to them the gates, and we destroyed all the men and their substance, and we took for a prey all that was theirs, and their 3 walls we cast down. And we drew near to Thamnah, where was all the refuge of the hostile kings. Then, having received hurt, I was angry, and charged upon them to the brow of the hill. And they slang at me with stones and darts, and not Dan, my brother, aided me. They would have been able to slay me, and had not Dan, his brother, helped him. We came upon them, therefore, with wrath, and they all fled. And passing by another way, they besought my father, and he made peace with them, and we did to them no hurt, but made a truce with them, and restored to them all the captives. And I built Thamnah, and my father built Rambael. I was 20 years old when this war befell, and the Canaanites feared me and my brethren. Moreover, I had much cattle, and I had for the chief of my brethren Iran, the Adulamite. And I gives a reference for Genesis 38:1. And I went to him, and when I went to him, I saw Barsan, king of Adulam, and he made us a feast. And we entreated me, and gave me his daughter Bathshua to wife. She bare me Onan, and Shelah. And the 2 of them the Lord smote, that they died childless. For Shelah lived, and his children are you. Interesting. 18 years we abode at peace, our father and we, with his brother Esau, and his sons with us. After that we came to Mesopotamia for Laban. And when 18 years were fulfilled, in the 40th year of my life, Esau, the brother of my father, came upon us with much people and strong, and he fell by the brow of Jacob. Okay, we know it's an infamous story about Jacob and Esau, right? And was taken up dead in Mount Seir. Okay, even as he went above Armah What was he slain? Okay, so in talking about mounts, okay, so yesterday some very interesting things happened. We know about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. We also know Richard Simmons passed yesterday. He was 76. That's a 13. Yesterday was the 13th. Yesterday was 7/13. Okay, and the gentleman or family that I'm renting from, he texted me and told me that his sister passed and he's making plans to hopefully get to Illinois. They are also from Joliet, Illinois, as I am from Joliet, Illinois. How harmonious is that? Okay, I did not know them before 11 months ago. I had no idea who Aaron and Gail were. Okay. However, his sister, he notified me yesterday, passed in a car accident in Illinois, Mount Vernon specifically, and this is on the news. Okay, you can find this on the news. She passed on, the accident was on 7/12. Okay, and she is 31. Okay, so that's also a 13. Okay, again, just sharing the synchronicities, and I was reminded of that when I read about Mount Seir here just a moment ago. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. And I think I'm going to have to turn the phone around this way. I can only hold it like that for so long. Mount Seir. Okay, even as Irma was slain, and he pursued. Okay, and we pursued after the sons of Esau. Now they had a city with walls of iron and gates of brass, and we could not enter it. And we encamped around and besieged it. And when they opened not to us after 20 days, I set up a ladder in the sight of all, and with my shield upon my head, I climbed it, sailed with stones of 3 talents weight. And I climbed and slew 4 who were mighty among them. And the next day Reuben and Gad entered in and slew 60 others. Then they asked from us terms of peace, and being aware of our father's purpose, we received them as tributaries. And they gave us 200 cores of wheat, 500 baths of oil, 1,500 measures of wine, until we went down into Egypt. And after these things, my son took to wife Tamar from Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is extremely key. They all are, but Mesopotamia is a key location, both in Egyptian history as well. Okay, so a daughter of Aram. Now was wicked, and he doubted concerning Tamar, because she was not of the land of Canaan. And on the 3rd day of an angel of the Lord smote him in the night, and he had not known her, according to the evil craftiness of his mother, for he did not wish to have children from her. In the days of the wedding feast I espoused Onan to her, and he also in wickedness knew her not, though he lived with her a year. And when I threatened him, he lay with her, according to the command of his mother, and he also died in his wickedness. And I wished to give Shelah also to her, but my wife Bathsheba suffered it not. 4. She bore a smite against Tamar because she was not of the daughters of Canaan as she herself was. Okay, so there's some familiar strife going on, and familiar strife, family strife going on within that household, obviously, okay, not being approved of, and so on and so forth. And these traditions continue today, right? So you still hear about, in some cultures, the daughters or the sons being unalived because they marry someone outside of their culture or outside of their religion, okay? Many of these people, I remember one incident, I don't remember names specifically, but I recall one incident where a woman from India, or country closely associated with India, I'm not sure, she was of olive skin. This is recent history. She married outside of her race, an American. The brother, one of her brothers, maybe her only brother, came to the United States, found her or wherever they were living, and he killed her. And he said he would do it again because she dishonored the family, dishonored the heritage, dishonored the parents. So in many cultures today, they still stick to these very strict, very stringent rules, okay? Which is rather interesting considering, excuse me, just considering the times, I guess. Just considering the times, okay? Okay, all right. And I knew that the race of Canaan was wicked, but the thoughts of youth blinded my heart, and when I saw her pouring out wine in the drunkenness of wine, I was deceived, and I fell before her. And while I was away, she went and took for Shelah a wife from the land of Canaan, and when I knew what she had done, I cursed her in the anguish of my soul. And she also died in the wickedness of her sons. After, this is 12, and after these things, while Tamar was with a widow, she heard after 2 years that I was going up to shear my sheep. Then she decked herself in bridal array, and sat over against the city by the gate. For it is a law of the Amorites that she who is about to marry, sit in fornication 7 days by the gate. I, therefore, being drunk at the waters of Chozeb, recognized her not by reason of wine, and her beauty deceived me through the fashion of her adorning. Okay, so she was covered in such a way that he could not recognize her. And I turned aside to her and said, I would enter in to you. And she said to me, what will you give me? And I gave her my staff and my girdle and my royal crown. And I lay with her, and she conceived. I then, not knowing what she had done, wished to slay her. But she privately sent my pledges and put me to shame. And when I called her, I heard also the secret words which I spake when lying with her excuse me, in my drunkenness. And I could not slay her, because it was from the Lord. For I said, lest haply she did it in subtlety, and received the pledge from another woman. But I came near her no more till my death, because I had done this abomination in all Israel. Moreover, they were in the city said that they who were in the city said that there was no bride in the city, because she came to another place. and sat for a while in the gate, and she thought that no one knew that I had gone into her. And after this, we came into Egypt to Joseph because of the famine. Okay, 46 years was I. 46 years old was I, and 70 and 3 years lived I there. Okay, so so Judah, 46 years old, and then for the next how many ever years, he dwelt for a total of 73 in Egypt. Okay, and now, my children, in what things soever I command you, hearken to your father, and keep all my sayings to perform the ordinances of the Lord. Let me grab something to drink. and to obey the command of the Lord. And I walk not after your lust, nor in the thoughts of your imaginations, in the haughtiness of your heart, and glory not in the works of the strength of youth. For this also is evil in the eyes of the Lord. For since I also glorified in the wars, the face of no woman of goodly form ever deceived me, and upbraided Reuben my brother concerning Bilhah, the wife of my father. That's Jacob. Okay. Bilhah was, again, one of his 4 women. The spirits of jealousy and of fornication arrayed themselves within me and his father, and yet highest divine white light still lifted them. Again, I don't know why. Right? My hands have been clean and my heart has been clear since I've received the crown, and I can say for a fact and with great certainty that I will never shame it. I will never bring it down. I will never defame it. I will never go against it. I can say that with 100% certainty. Okay. Until I fell before Bathsheba the Canaanite, and Tamar, who was espoused to my sons. And I said to my father-in-law, I will counsel with my father, and so will I take your daughter. And he showed me a boundless store of gold in his daughter's behalf, for he was a king. And he decked her with gold and pearls, and caused her to pour out wine for us at the feast in womanly beauty. And the wine led my eyes astray, and pleasure blinded my heart, and I loved her, and I fell, and transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and the commandment of my fathers, and I took her to wife. And the Lord rewarded me according to the thought of my heart, insomuch that I had no joy in her children. And now, my children, be not drunk with wine, for wine turns the mind away from the truth. Okay? And some of you might find this funny. It's 29 minutes exactly on the timer. That's an 11. Some of you might find this funny, but I would much rather smoke than drink. Okay? So it's been some time since I've had an alcoholic beverage. I'd rather smoke than drink. Okay? And that's not cigarettes. Okay? In fact, I do not smoke any type of what do you call it? Nicotine, right? I don't smoke anything with nicotine in it. Okay. 4. If a man... Let me see. 4. The spirit of fornication has wine as a minister to give pleasures to the mind, for these to take away the power from a man. For if a man drink wine to drunkenness, he disturbs his mind with filthy thoughts to fornication, and excites his body to carnal union. And if the cause of the desire, they call it liquid courage for a reason, and if the cause of the desire be present, he works the sin, and is not ashamed. Such is wine, my children, for he who is drunken reverences no man. For lo, it made me also to err, so that I was not ashamed of the multitude in the city, because before the eyes of all I turned aside unto Tamar, and I worked a great sin, and I uncovered the covering of the shame of my sons. After that I drank wine. After that I drank wine, I reverenced not the commandment of God, and I took a woman of Canaanite to wife. Wherefore, my children, he who drinks wine needs discretion, and herein is discretion in drinking wine, that a man should drink as long as he keeps decency. But if he go beyond this bound, again, the liquid courage starts working, the spirit of deceit attacks his mind, and he thinks that he could take another man's wife, or she thinks she can take another woman's husband. Okay? Attacks his mind and works his will, and it makes the drunkard to talk filthily, and to transgress and not to be ashamed, but even to exult in his dishonor, accounting himself to do well. He that commits fornication and uncovers his nakedness has become the servant of fornication, and escapes not from the power thereof, even as I also was uncovered. For I gave my staff, that is, the stay of my tribute, and my girdle, that is, the power, and my diadem, that is, the glory of my kingdom. Then I repented for those things, and took these things, and took no wine or flesh until my old age. Nor did I behold any joy. And the angel of God showed me that forever do women bear rule over king and beggar alike. And from the king they take away his glory, and from the valiant man his strength, and from the beggar even that little which is the stay of his poverty. So even to the beggar, the vagabond, the outcast, okay, even to them, the woman, okay, can be deceiving because of the woman's nature. Also, a side note, also, I am also learning about Lilith, okay? So Lilith was before Eve, okay? Lilith is Jezebel. So this is how I understand this today, okay? Again, so let's talk. So again, we have to go back to the foundational masculine energy and feminine energy, okay? There's both, okay? That's why we have both, because we are the image of highest divine white light. That's why we have both. I truly believe that's why we have two legs. One representing the right side of us, representing whatever, good, bad, whatever. I believe that's how we have two. I honestly believe that, okay? In the physical, while we have that. Spiritually, again, we have one eye. That's the third eye, okay? I think it's really, really interesting that the physical body represents what it does or is. But the spiritual body, did I say that right? The spiritual body represents one thing and looks one way, and its structure is singular. But the physical man is dual. You have a left and right lung, a left and right kidney, right? You have left and right ventricles. You have all left and right brain, right? You have all of this. You have cerebrum, and then you have the cerebellum, and then you have, right? So, okay. I think it's interesting, but Lilith is the female Luciferian. Okay, she is the devil, Satan, Apophis. Okay. By the way, there is a meteor that's due to hit or touch close to Earth, or come close to Earth within like 20,000 something kilometer, however they measure that, in 2029. 29 might be significant for you, or 20. Okay. And that meteor's name is Apophis. True story. Okay? But Lilith, when highest divine white light removed the demonic energy from his throne, from around him, okay, in the heavenlies, there was a male and a female energy that was cast out. Okay? That male and female energy is, again, Satan or Lucifer and Jezebel. Okay? So Lilith had an opportunity to repent. Lilith chose not to repent. Okay? Then she went on to give birth to 100 children who did not live. So 100 children, give birth to 100 children, they all die. Okay? So if 1,000 years is but, and again, I'm just following this right now. So 1,000 years is but a day. So 100 years is a tenth of that. Okay? Right? So what's a tenth of 24 hours? Okay? A tenth of 24 hours is 2.4. Okay? So 2.4 hours, whatever that relates to esoteric, whatever that means esoterically. Okay? So we know that through reading Enoch, 5,500 years, highest divine white light states that a couple of different ways. Sometimes it's mentioned as even in the book of treasures with Adam and Eve after the garden, he mentions 5,500 years. Okay, that is 5,500 years, and he might say days. I think it says days, 5,500 days, but that calculates into years. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. That's what it is. So, in canonical text, when you read about days, okay, you have to be aware of how that's being referenced or how that's being calculated. Okay, so 5,500 days is what we read about, but you have to know that 1,000 years is but a day. 1,000 years on this earth is but a day, 24 hours. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. Okay, and we are in paragraph 16. Observe therefore, my children, moderation in wine, for there are in it 4 evil spirits. Let's talk about these 4 evil spirits. Lust, wrath, riotousness, and filthy lucre. So the love of money to the exclusion of all else. So when you get drunk, right, we see it in Hollywood, and I don't mean in Hollywood, I mean on the movies, right? That's what I mean. So when you get drunk, people do crazy stuff. They shoot people, they carry on recklessly, they sleep with their brothers' wives, they sleep with their whatevers, they do all this stuff, right? Okay, and women do too. Women sleep with their but their best friend's boyfriend or husband or whatever, right? We see this. And then, so that's the lust. Then the wrath, again, is the anger. So the liquid courage, okay? Then the riotousness, okay? You get crazy, you get wild, you lose all inhibitions, okay? And again, the love of the natural, not just money, but the love of the natural things around you. One of the things that I have started recently affirming, okay, is that I seek no earthly thing. I seek no earthly wealth. None. I don't seek it. I don't go after it. I don't pursue it. I don't, nothing. I started probably maybe a week ago, a little less than a week ago. I started, maybe a little more, started to say that. Okay, and I continue to, and I will continue to. I have come to the place where I seek no earthly wealth of any sort. Okay? Okay, I used to hold fast to the wonderful, the inheritance that's coming from all the witchcraft that's been doing, and I was on that train for a long time. Okay? I've gotten off that train. Okay? Today, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, I am content to be where I am for so long as the air conditioning is working in this RV. Because it's in Arizona. I am content to be where I am. I do not pursue anything else. I do not go after any in the natural. I do not. Okay, I am not looking to where am I going to live next. I am not looking to where am I going to gain my next dollar. I am not looking to any of that. I pursue nothing of this material world. Nothing. I do not focus on the manifesting of it. I seek nothing from this earth. Nothing. Okay? I shouldn't say from the earth. I seek nothing of this material world, of the 3D world. Okay? No riches, no wealth of any sort, cars, all of that sort of thing. I seek none of that. Okay? And I'm content to be that way. Okay? I heard something recently that says the most dangerous man or woman is the one who is unafraid to die. That is the most dangerous individual. And I can tell you today that I am 100% completely unafraid to die because I know that I can't. Okay? There's a lot of harm that can come to this physical body that I sit in, but I can never die, and I will never die. Okay? So I'm not afraid of what man can do to me. And so this is empowering once we are able to realize this and once we fully step into this. Okay? Because when you realize that there is nothing that man can do to you to harm you, or anything else, spirit, demon, whatever, right, can do to harm you, you have no fear. And when you have no fear, you have become, again, a greater portion or higher portion of yourself, a better part of you. Okay? Because you should not fear death. Because, oh death, where is your sting? Oh grave, where is your victory? There is no victory for the grave here. The grave has tried many times in this lifetime alone to suck me in. Umbilical cord tied around my neck and my left arm when I was birthed. From the beginning, from conception, the Jezebel, Luciferian, Apophis, Apep spirits have been trying to kill this flesh. Seizures until the age of 8. I healed myself of those. Okay? Rare autoimmune virus that man could not cure. 4.5 years on dialysis, manifested a kidney transplant on 7/7/17 was when I received that kidney. While in the military, I was supposed to have arthroscopic knee surgery after going through non-commissioned officer school. Okay? I chose to heal myself even in the karmic energy that I was, because back then I was It was all about drinking and partying and have a good time. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but as we can see here, right, overindulgence can lead to things, and overindulgence led to things. Okay? So, even then, I knew the strength of my ability to heal myself, and I was like, nope, that's not happening. And I don't know what I said back then in Germany. I was in Germany at the time. I said some prayer over me, and that was it. I've run on this knee I don't know how many times. No pains, no aches. I do squats, whatever. None. I don't like doing squats. I need to like doing squats. So, but because that's definitely something that would be beneficial for me, just for my legs. I tend to neglect my legs for whatever reason. And so that's something that, again, I constantly work on. In fact, the last couple of days, I've been doing squats, right? So my hamstrings and my glutes are a little sore. But, okay, so when you become fearless and unafraid to die, you become the most dangerous person to the enemy possible. Okay? So, let's continue. If you drink wine in gladness and with shamefacedness, with the fear of God, you shall live. For if you drink not with shamefacedness, and the fear of God departs from you, then comes drunkenness and shamelessness, steals in. But even if you drink not at all, take heed lest ye sin in words of outrage, and fighting, and slander, and transgression of the commandments of God. So even if you don't drink or indulge in alcoholic beverages, okay, Judah is saying you still have to watch your temper. You still have to be careful that you don't act out of anger. You still have to make sure, and that's something I constantly have to be aware of, and I should say less today, okay? But that was something that I had to be aware of, and I was not aware of for a long, long time, okay, for many years. And so with that, don't think just because you don't drink that you can't be angry. There are many angry people out there. I just saw a movie about a woman who and her husband who kept their daughter. She could not have children, so they kidnapped this daughter or whatever and held this daughter in a basement for I don't know how many years, right? So she developed psychotic episodes, ended up being a social worker. This girl grew up to be and ended up being a social worker, and then having to deal with all these psychotic episodes as she was trying to help children who were being harmed by these nefarious energies, that take over human beings. Okay? All right. So, yeah, her mother was just, in the movie, she would cook things for her that she did not like, okay? She'd be like, Mom, you know I don't like that. But the mom would make it anyway. Okay, just a karmic energy. Okay? Just karmic. Okay. So ye shall perish before your time if you do these things. Moreover, wine reveals the mysteries of God and men to aliens, even as I also revealed the commandments of God and the mysteries of Jacob my father to the Canaanitish Bathshua, to whom God forbade to declare them. Shoot, it timed out. Alexa, YouTube.
Here is YouTube.
Sorry about that. I keep forgetting that, and I don't touch the screen so that it doesn't time out. That's my mistake. I apologize for that. Let's go back to where we were. Okay, so by the way, I hope you're doing well today. It's Sunday, 7/14, 7/7. That's a 7/7. And I believe we were down somewhere around 16th verse, maybe? Yep, 16th. Okay. Moreover, wine reveals the mysteries of God and men to aliens, even as I also revealed the commandments of God and the mysteries of them. So it's interesting that Judah recognizes aliens. There's the word alien is probably nowhere mentioned in your Bible, in the Bible. Yours either. Right? It speaks of extraterrestrials, right? I think that word is in there once or twice, but not very often. To whom God forbade to declare them, and wine is also a cause of war and confusion. I charge you, therefore, my children, not to love money, nor to gaze upon the beauty of women, because for the sake of money and the beauty I was led astray by Bathsheba and the Canaanite. So I'm going to show you all what I've written down recently, along with my no longer seeking physical wealth of any sort. Okay? I wrote this down the other day. If you can see that, it might be a little difficult to see. Let me shed some light on this show. Let's see. So I wrote this. This says, you see, I was writing some things down about mudras, okay, and what they represent. Okay, so these are your fingers, and these are what each of them represents. My left finger has been itching the entire day. Itching the entire day. That's the index finger. It has been itching now. It still is right now. Okay? But I wrote this. I neither seek women nor abhor them. Okay? So, I do not seek after women, and neither do I push them away. Neither. Okay? That's where my energy is, okay? In regards to that. So it's a confirmation here, okay? Because for the sake of money and beauty, I was led astray to Bathsheba and the Canaanite. For I know that because of these two things shall you who are my race fall into wickedness. For even wise men among my sons shall they mar, and shall cause the kingdom of Judah to be diminished. Excuse me. Which the Lord gave me because of my obedience to the Father. For I never disobeyed a word of Jacob my father, for all things whatsoever he commanded I did. And Abraham, the father of my father, blessed me that I should be king in Israel, and Isaac further blessed me. So again, you have a polygamist, blessing a polygamist, blessing a polygamist, blessing a polygamist. I'm going to harp on that until highest divine white light, like, I don't know, send some star through the sky or something that lets me know why he allowed that. I don't know. I'm going to stay on it, and I'll always look at that as a fail of spiritual law, a fail of the being of the Adam nature in man after the garden, that Adam nature, that Adamic nature, okay, that seeks after the wealth and all of that, good-looking women and all of that sort of thing, right? Whatever it is, lusting after your neighbor's wife or husband, whatever that is, okay, I will always look at them with a tinge of disappointment. All of them. Adam, I look at you with a tinge of disappointment. Abraham, I look at you with a tinge of disappointment. I said Adam, I didn't mean to say Adam, but Adam, yeah, well, I do, but not for the same reason, I guess. Isaac, I look at you with a tinge of disappointment. Jacob, I look at you with a tinge of disappointment. I liken myself to Enoch. Okay? I do not, yeah, I am not of that lineage. And I know that from me shall the kingdom be established. For 18. For I have read also in the books of Enoch the righteous, what evils ye shall do in the last days. And again, my judgment against Abraham and Jacob and Isaac and all, my judgment against them is because they knew and still did, after being crowned, after being ascended and wise and aware, they did these things. Okay? Again, the crown that sits on this spiritual head, this dome, what have you, right? It is forever protected. I will never fornicate. I will never commit adultery. I will never, whatever it is. And I'm making sure of that, because I am not afraid of the big D, and that's discipline. I'm not afraid of that word. I'm not afraid of being desolate. I'm not afraid of being isolated. I'm not afraid of being alone. I'm not afraid of those things. And because I am not afraid of those things, those of you who also are, you know that that is empowering. And again, that goes along with being unafraid of whatever should come up against you or attempt to. Take heed, therefore, my children, of fornication and the love of money. Hearken to Judah your father, for those things do withdraw from you the law of God, and blind the understanding of the soul, and teach arrogance, and suffer not a man to have compassion upon his neighbor. They rob his soul of all goodness, and bind him in toils and troubles, and take away his sleep, and devour his flesh, and hinder the sacrifices of God. And he remembers not blessing, and he hearkens not to a prophet when he speaks, and is vexed at the word of godliness. For one who serves two passions, contrary to the commandment of God, cannot obey God. That's the same thing as saying you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve Jezebel and also serve highest divine white light. You cannot be a polygamist. Well, never mind, take that back. You can be a polygamist and still be exalted and high in the highs of God. Why? Again, I do not know. But I was going to say you can't be, but never mind. You can be a polygamist and still be exalted in the highs of highest divine white light. Why? I don't know. I surely hope that whatever I am to gain on the spiritual side, on the esoteric side, is far greater than those who he allows to fuck other women or fuck other men in polyamorous situations and still allow them to enter into the gate. I should hope that whatever treasures is laid up in heaven for me is far greater than those who, once coming into the knowledge of, still fucked around, pun intended. I should hope that greater is my treasure than even Abraham, than even Isaac, than even Jacob, okay? Than even Solomon. I should hope that greater than these, may my wisdom be greater. And if you walk a celibate life, okay, right? If you're not committed to anyone, if you walk a celibate life, may your blessings, may your treasures that are laid up in heaven, may they be greater than these that we hold in such high regard when they fell knowing who they were, after knowing who they were, after receiving the crown. May your treasures be greater than these. Okay? Okay. Do not obey God. Okay, so double-minded man and woman, because they have blinded his soul, and he walks in the daytime as in the night. So, blind coming, blind going, blind when rise up, and blind when the moon is up. It doesn't matter. My children, the love of money leads to idols, because when led astray through money, men make mention of those who are no gods, and it causes him who has it to fall into madness. For the sake of money I lost my children, and but for the repentance of my flesh, and the humbling of my soul, and the prayers of Jacob my father, I should have died childless. But God of my fathers, who is pitiful and merciful, and pardoned me, because I did it in ignorance. For the prince of deceit blinded me, and I was ignorant as a man and as flesh. Being corrupted in sins, I learned my own weakness while thinking myself unconquerable. Okay? Learn, therefore, my children, that two spirits wait upon a man, the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. I love that. I love that. Let me read that again. Therefore, my children, my people, my nations, understand, and the nations are the people, understand that two spirits wait upon man. The spirit from conception. These are the spirits of truth, the spirit of truth, and the spirit of error. One is on your right shoulder and one is on your left shoulder, constantly speaking to you as to the direction that they would desire for you to go. That doesn't say that. That's me speaking. And in the midst is the spirit of understanding of the mind, that's between both the left and right shoulder, to which it belongs to turn wherever it will. Okay, that's your willpower, sometimes phrased as the ego. Okay, and when it's in shadow. And the works of truth and the works of error are written upon the breast of men, so your heart, and each one of them the Lord knows. And there is no time at which the works of men can be hid from him, for on the bones of his breast has he been written down before the Lord. The Lord, and the Spirit of truth testifies all things, and accuses all, and he who sins is burnt up by his own heart, and cannot raise his face unto the judge. And now, my children, love Levi, that you may abide, and exalt not yourselves against him, lest ye be utterly destroyed. For to me the Lord gave the kingdom, and to him the priesthood. Again, the Levitical priesthood is extremely important. I got that this morning on my morning walk. And Japheth, Japheth, Japheth. Again, I looked up. I could not find a link in the short amount of time that I did do some research this morning. I could not find a link directly between Japheth and the Levitical priesthood, other than this: Levi is the third son of Jacob, and Japheth is the third son of Alexa. Who is the son of cancel? Alexa, who is the father of Japheth?
Here's what I found.
It didn't do anything. So anyway, whoever, I'll look that up. I don't want to close out the phone to look that up because I have to stop the video. So anyway, whoever the father of Japheth is, okay, and mother, that's significant. Both are significant, okay? But they are both the third son in their family. Okay, Levi is the third son of Jacob, and Japheth is the third son of whoever his parents are. Okay, for that lifetime. Okay, so that's the one similarity that I did find between the two. Okay, so 333. Obviously, we know that number and synchronicity is important. And he set the kingdom beneath the priesthood. To me he gave the things upon the earth, to him the things in the heavens. As the heaven is higher than the earth, so is the priesthood of God higher than the kingdom upon the earth. Okay, so Levi got the wealth of the esoteric, of the heavenlies. Okay, and Judah is saying that he received the wealth of the earth. Okay, material possessions. As the heaven is high, for the Lord chose him above you to draw near to him and to eat of his table and firstfruits, even the choice things of the sons of Israel, and you shall be to them as a sea. For, that means many, for as on the sea, just and unjust are tossed about, some taken into captivity, while others are enriched. So also shall every race of men be in you. Some are in jeopardy and taken captive, and others shall grow rich by means of plunder. We continue to see it today. For they who rule will be as great sea monsters, swallowing up men like fishes. Free sons and daughters do they enslave. Houses, lands, flocks, money will they plunder, and with the flesh of many will they wrongfully feed the ravens and the cranes. And they, I just thought about some synchronicity. So the gentleman who fired the shots at the Trump rally yesterday, his name is Thomas Crooks. So why did I find this interesting? Because my last name currently, it's going to change. I'm changing my last name to Patah. Okay? So when all of this legal stuff is done, okay, I will be completely changing my name. Okay? I will no longer be known as a Thomas of any sort. So, just one who was faithful. So, his name is Thomas Crooks. It's interesting. Thomas Crooks. I think that's very interesting. Two ravens. And they will go on further in evil, advancing on still in covetousness. And there shall be false prophets like tempests, and they shall prosecute all righteous men. And the Lord shall bring upon him. Sorry, this one's running a little long. Let me see how much longer we have. I will finish, but it's probably going to run to probably about 120, maybe a little shorter. Okay. Paragraph 22. And the Lord shall bring upon them divisions one against another, and there shall be continual wars in Israel, and among men of other race shall my kingdom be brought to an end, until the salvation of Israel shall come. It still hasn't. Until the appearing of the God of righteousness, that Jacob and all the Gentiles may rest in peace. And he shall guard the might of the kingdom forever. For the Lord swore to me with an oath that the kingdom shall never fail from me, and from my seed for all days, even forever. Paragraph 23. Now I have much grief, my children, because of your lewdness, and witchcrafts, and idolatries, which you will work against the kingdom, following them that have familiar spirits. Familiar spirits. You will make your daughters singing girls and harlots for divinations and demons of error. And I don't even know if that word divinations is in between Genesis and Revelation at all. And you will be mingled in the pollutions of Gentiles, mingling the seed, for which things' sake the Lord shall bring upon the famine and pestilence, death and the sword, avenging siege and the dogs for the rending in pieces of enemies, and reviling of friends, destruction and blighting of eyes, children slaughtered, wives carried off, possessions plundered, temple of God in flames, your land desolated, your own selves enslaved among the Gentiles. And they shall make some of you eunuchs for their wives. And whenever you will return to the Lord with humility of heart, repenting and walking in all the commandments of God, then will the Lord visit you in mercy and in love, bringing you from out of the bondage of your enemies. 24. And after these things shall a star arise to you from Jacob in peace, and a man shall arise from my seed, like the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N, walking in the sons of men in meekness and righteousness, and no sin shall be found in him, and the heavens shall be opened above him to shed forth the blessings of the Spirit of the Holy Father. And he shall shed forth a spirit of grace upon you, and you shall be unto him sons in truth, and you shall walk in his commandments, the first and the last. This is the branch of God Most High, and this is the wellspring unto life for all flesh. Then shall the scepter of my kingdom shine forth, and from your root shall arise a stem, and in it shall arise a rod of righteousness into the Gentiles, to judge and to save all that call upon the Lord. 25. And after these things shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob arise unto life, and I and my brethren will be chiefs, even your scepter in Israel. Levi first, I second, Joseph third, Benjamin fourth, Simeon fifth, Issachar sixth, and so all in order. And the Lord blessed Levi, the angel of the presence, me, the powers of glory, Simeon, the heaven, Reuben, the earth, Issachar, the sea, Zebulun, the mountains, Joseph, the tabernacle, Benjamin, the light of heaven, Dan. My crown chakra is popping. The fatness of earth, Naphtali. The sun, S-U-N, Gad. The olive, Asher. And there shall be one people of the Lord, and one tongue, and there shall no more be a spirit of deceit of Beliar, for he shall be cast into the fire forever. And they who have died in grief shall arise in joy, and they who have lived in poverty for the Lord's sake shall be made rich. Again, I seek none of that. If that's what happens, that's what happens. I pursue none of that. And they who have been in want shall be filled, and they who have been weak shall be made strong, and they who have been put to death for the Lord's sake shall awaken life. And this is why I've made that choice. Okay, so let me confirm why I've made that choice. Because this is just another avenue for all that glitters, right, and shimmers. So when you focus on something, it could be a job promotion, it could be anything. When you focus on that, the enemy, you can use that against you. In me shall the enemy find no place to drop anchor. No place within me to drop anchor. Okay? And they who have been put to death for the Lord's sake shall awaken life. And the hearts of Jacob, that's H-A-R-T-S, of Jacob shall run in joyfulness, and the eagles of Israel shall fly in gladness, but the ungodly shall lament, and sinners all weep, and all the people shall glorify the Lord forever. Observe therefore, my children, all the law of the Lord, for there is hope for all them who follow his way, or follow his way aright. And he said to them, I die before your eyes this day, 119 years old. Let no one bury me in costly apparel, nor tear open the bowels, For, that means the fatted calf, no celebration. For this shall they who are kings do. And carry me out to Hebron with you. And Judah, when he had said these things, fell asleep. And his sons did according to all whatsoever he commanded them, and they buried him in Hebron with his fathers. Okay? And so this concludes the Fourth Testament, which is the Testament of Judah. Okay? And this Testament of Judah is concerning the fortitude, the love of money, and fornication. Okay? The next we are going to be looking at is the Testament of Issachar concerning simplicity. Okay, and this one isn't nearly as long. This one looks like it's going to be maybe 30 minutes. It has 7 paragraphs. Okay, so again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nehru. This is the I almost said this is the Ascended Masters. This This is esoteric guidance. Okay. Thank you so much again, subscribers, for tuning in. I hope that you are gathering something out of this as we all are here marrying the natural 3D matrix world to the higher conscious self, our true self. As we bring these two things together, okay, I hope that we can see how and why things continue to happen, and the ways that we can, in our own self, again, become the change that we desire to see, and then allow that to spread to others. Okay? Thank you so much again for tuning in, and as always, be encouraged.